Hey man,
Hey, how are you?
good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm
You're a little
good.
loud.
Am I?
No, no, not you. Just my volume was up. That's all. You
Okay.
having a good day?
I am having a good day. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Because I'm on on my phone, I'm on the bottom half here. Like I'm cut
Yes.
off by. So should I mean, I guess that's everyone's view. Is the view that I'm getting is everyone's view. So maybe I
Yeah.
should do this way so I can fit
I
in.
think
Anyway, it's all
I
good.
think so. I think we
All
can we
good.
can play
All
we
good.
can play with the views as we move this thing forward.
All right. Awesome.
All
You
right.
having a good day?
I'm having a good day. I'm having a good day. It's a Friday, and I'm excited for the weekend.
Yeah.
Uh, you too?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. This has
Cool.
been a busy week in terms of trying to get back to the drawing board. Not an easy week to be at the board. I had some kids home, some COVID tests, all that kind of stuff, which
Right.
makes for anyone who does not make comics regularly, it's a very immersive activity, and you need a full day's work to just be totally, totally immersed within it to make any headway. And it is with everybody home. Many days it is extremely challenging, but this week was a kind of a write-off because you got to warm up even when you get drawing. If you're going to be drawing something for a book, I find that I need to draw for maybe an hour or two just to get my mind in the right spot before I start putting ink to paper. So it's like you warm up and then interruption,
Yeah.
and then okay, all right, we gotta let's do some laundry. Then we got to warm up again. And yeah. Anyway, one of those kinds of weeks. Pretty frustrating, but still very optimistic and lots of positive things to take from it. So it's been okay, but not as Peregrines heavy as I would have liked. If that
Right.
makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, before we get into maybe sharing some updates on Peregrines, we can
Yes.
update that the digital trade copy of Group of Seven Most Secret Tale is now available in PDF. It's available through Gumroad, our site on the Gumroad website. And how to get there is to go to our ordering form, which is available through the link here on our Instagram page. Or through our website, and just scroll down, and the digital option comes up, and it'll give you the link to Gumroad, and you just put in your information there, and it sends you a direct link to download. So that's pretty exciting to get that
Yeah.
going.
Very happy about that. It's obviously you can't really have a comic book published these days without thinking about the digital side of things,
Right.
as there are so many readers around the world who read things digitally. So it's
R-
great to have that piece checked off the checklist, right? Another thing done, which is fantastic.
Totally. And it's also been submitted to previously our comics were up on Spinwiz, which is like an
Right.
indie comics reading site in the States. And so they've been interested in getting the trade too, and so we're just working to make that happen at the same time.
Right.
Uh, and it's also been submitted to Comixology for hosting on their site to see if they'll take it. So it's a whole submission process. What our submissions in, we'll see if they have some love for Group of Seven Most Secret Tale.
Well, hopefully. Well, good job on spearheading all that stuff. It's pretty tedious work and thankless. So I'm not going to thank you, nor am I going to appreciate the tedium.
Yeah,
No, no,
thank you.
it's great. No, it's fantastic. Well done. It's good stuff for sure. Shout outs to John. I see John is there, and Craig is there. Nice to see you guys. I actually saw John today, but in person. But
Cool.
nice to see Craig on here too. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them out. Are you drinking any tea yet, Chris? Did you make a cup of
You
tea?
know what? We talked about drinking tea, and I've moved right on to red wine. So
Listen, the whole point, the whole concept. No, I'm just joking. That's good. I don't usually have this much tea in a day, but I've been drinking a lot of tea today for
okay.
no other reason than trying to get in the spirit of this, and only to have it dashed by you within seconds. All it took was one sip of that red for me to be completely ruined. So good job on that. Way to go. I was going to ask you because I was thinking about this the other day
Yeah.
about our upcoming book,
Yes.
our upcoming series of issues, which will be eventually published as a book. We call Peregrines, which will be Group of Seven, issues 7, 8, 9, and 10. I was going to ask you about because you've been telling me a lot about behind the scenes, obviously, and telling me the story. Have you been reading anything or anything you've read in the last year or two informed either the story or the texture or some of the subtext that's going on in the book? Like, have you been drawing inspiration from anything?
I think the initial inspiration came from the research phase of Group of Seven, Most Secret Tale,
Right.
looking at the roles and personalities of the Canadian Armed Forces in the First World War, and landing on the nurses
Right.
who were who are an extraordinary group of individuals, and so learning more about them just through honestly through secondary sources, whether it's through sites like Historica Canada or Canadian Encyclopedia or various like the War Museum.
Right.
So that's really been informing just the direction of this group of extraordinary women, and then kind of. But in terms of the fictional piece or the look and the feel, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. You and I often play who would we cast in certain roles,
Sure.
and we
Well,
go back and
it helps
forth.
me a great deal to
Right,
understand, whose voice and
right,
whose face, like
of
just as a
course.
starting point.
Of course, so there's been some pretty
Yeah.
powerful female action roles of late, the last 5 or 10 years. Whether it's first comes to mind Emily Blunt
Yeah.
in that movie. What's that movie called?
Sicario.
Sicario.
Sicario. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so she's and so we just kind of you know look at those inspirationally, and then actually I will say, what, it's not as much reading that's inspired a lot of my thinking on Peregrines. It's music.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, so I've got a question here. Uh,
Yes.
are these
It's
women from Canadian history like Group of Seven characters?
that's
Uh,
Craig.
hey, Craig. The women themselves, the roles, they are fictional, but they are inspired by real women. And certainly the nurses, the Canadian Army nurses those are real people. That was a real part of the Canadian Army organization. One of the fascinating things about these women is that they were the only commissioned officers of any combatant force in the First World War. That's fact. They were paid
Mm,
of equal. They held rank, so they're lieutenants. So that's fact. So that means they held equal rank, and received pay to many of their male military colleagues. And in fact, actually, because the Army would participate in general federal Canadian elections, the women actually voted as part of their Army service before
right.
the vote was given to women in Canada. So an extraordinary group of women to begin with, to then set the story on. So yes, they're based on a real group of women, but they themselves, unlike the Group of Seven characters, are fictional, although they draw inspiration from the activities and accomplishments of some real nurses during the First World War.
Do you think that we're going to ever like say who the real historical women are, like the sort of inspirational figures? Is that somehow going to be part of the publication in any way, or just maybe just in conversations like this, or not at all?
I think
What's
it
your
can
thought on
be.
that? We haven't really discussed that.
No, I think it can be. I think, I'd love to share the source material of where I kind of dug into
Right.
the stories of these women, and found out more about some of these achievements and activities in general. So I think there's absolutely room for us, especially if we are able to bring those stories forward, whether through this medium or through the classroom setting or whatever it
Sure.
happens to be. That would
Or
be
on the website.
or on the website.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know that in the summer I worked on two comic pages that were just bios of characters from Group of Seven. I did a page like layouts and whatnot of for Conn Smythe, and one for Georgina Pope, as a
Right.
way to like how do we sort of draw like a biography of their life that isn't based in the fiction but references like where the fiction would sit. So that was kind of a fun experiment. I wonder if maybe we do something like that for either for the trade
Yeah.
down the road, or we just post on the website or post online, like on Instagram, etc., or inside the back cover of the issues, or who knows what.
Yeah.
There's definitely room to do little history bites.
Yeah, and I mean, we already kind of explored that with the military files of issues 1 to 6 on the back,
Yeah,
where although the graphic was fictional, although it was taken from the real military file, John McCrae's real military
sure.
file, right? At the same time, and the information in there, like the bio information, that's all real. And then we kind of had
Yes.
some fun with some notes about their abilities and
Yes.
their contributions. Although at the same time, like when we say like left inoculation scar
That's
for
real.
identification purposes,
Yeah, yeah.
that's from their military file.
Yeah,
So that's
all the
fun.
bios were real except for ours.
Yeah, except for ours on the back of the book. True.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun doing that, right?
Yes.
And
I,
I'm
I'm
so
into
glad
that.
you actually pushed us to do it. And it's one of those things where I was kind of like, yeah, sure, we should write some more, sure. And no, it was a perfect way to incorporate the vibe of that and include us in it and have some fun with it.
Yeah, for sure. And shout outs to Phil. I see Phil from Size and Stupidity says hello, and it's always good to think of your books, Phil. Phil, if you guys don't know, if you haven't read Size and Stupidity, for those Eli's here too, if folks like Eli and Craig haven't read it, it's hilarious dinosaur, one panel comic strip stuff, and yeah, my son loves it. We read it regularly, and it's laugh out loud funny stuff. Phil is a great cartoonist, and I'm so glad that I've had the chance to read some of that. So that's a lot of fun. Anyway, shout outs to Phil. Yes, definitely, Craig. Add it to your list.
Definitely, Craig.
He was at the Whitcalf where we met you as well. So we've met Phil there a couple times now. That's always nice to see him.
How,
Go, sure.
I was
What's
going
up?
to say back to the Peregrines piece. How is from your perspective, how is the progress coming on issue 7 or Peregrines Part 1?
It's coming along okay. A little, like I said, slow this week. And every time that I draw something new or try something outside of the Peregrine stuff, like I've been doing a lot of other sort of warm up and cool down drawings when I have like spare time, where I know that I don't have the mental faculties to sort of work on the book. I've been doing some Kirby stuff lately and playing, and that stuff is sort of going infuses into the Peregrine side, because I have one just right here. This one that I did for Cosmic Lion. I guess it was 2 weekends ago, or was it last weekend? 2 weekends ago, I think, where I took some Kirby panels and put them together in a different order and resized some things and sort of told a little 2020 story. But having this page as something that's been sitting around my little studio room here, it's really informed the way I'm thinking about those how much ink should be in the page and line, and his use of shape, Kirby's use of shape, that is. And it's just so it's even though I physically put the ink to paper here, I'm walking in Kirby's footsteps, very pretty tightly at times, and it just powers up the drawing I get to do for Peregrines, and kind of reframes a little bit about how I see the future pages going. Trying to get a little more power in the action scenes, and not worrying so much about the way I was doing things before, but adding a little bit. So I'm inspired, and I have my tools, and I have my board, and it feels great. So you're going to steal from somebody, or get inspired by somebody, there's really no people better, or no person better than artists like Kirby. So had that here, and I got to do this X-Men one. And I've already forgotten why I did this. I think I just was on a Zoom call one night and decided I just kind of wanted to learn a little bit more about his line and his poses. And I actually tried this a year ago. I tried drawing this a year ago, and I allowed myself to really tweak it and change poses around to try and like improve, because a lot of his work doesn't make sense, and it fell apart so fast. So yeah, you can learn a lot by tracing and by copying the work of your betters, and those things get ingrained in your muscle memory and change your mindset. So Peregrines is coming along. It's looking cool, and I'm still, part of me still thinks about using color,
Sure.
and or printing where it's the whole thing is in blue ink as opposed to black ink, and it's just shades of blue or shades of red, and like how it would possibly enhance or detract. And Craig says no, it can't be in color. Fair enough. So maybe Craig gets to have a special edition that's just for him the way he likes. But no, it's something to think about, right? If as much as I want to stay on the style that we've created already, if you never consider the other options out there, your work will get pretty stagnant. And if I'm going to stay working in black and white, I want it to be for the right reasons, not because I haven't thought about color. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and other part is it's completely under our control, which is
Yes. Yes.
you know, and you and I have talked a lot about how we've approached each issue differently, and
Yeah.
it's whether it's the way the layout, or whether it's the front cover, or whether
Sure.
it's a number of things. We like to play, and we like to reference things that we love.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a cover, a way it looks, you know, or even playing with as you were saying, just like playing with color palettes on the interiors of the book. Like,
Right.
we kind of want to do it all, which is
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a fun space to be in.
Yeah. Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
are there any books that you read recently that you wanna share?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, absolutely. I read a book, or I am reading a book right now, called The Utility of Boredom.
it's
Which
beautiful.
is
It's such a nice cover.
It's a beautiful color. I actually don't know the artist. I think it's on the inside. Anyway,
Shame on you.
it comes, this guy Andrew Forbes. I believe he's out of Peterborough, and I picked this up at our Word on the Street when we were part of that back in the fall. And it's just a lovely meditation on baseball and life. And if you're a baseball fan out there, it's a great pickup. If you want more information, just reach out, and I'll let you know how to get your hands on one of these.
Do you think a person who's not a huge fan of baseball would still enjoy it?
Absolutely, because it's
Very
meditations on things like fatherhood,
Yeah.
and the assumed or real or perceived connections and synchronicity between the things we love, whether it's baseball or comics, and the people we aspire to be. So it's a nice read. How about yourself?
Pulp by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I never get disappointed when I pick up one of their books. It always feels like I don't know why I didn't get this on the first day that it came out. This one I'll be sharing it with you as soon as I see you next. I'm a little hesitant to want to pass it over because I kind of want to keep it near my art table to, not as reference specifically to anything, but just to get me in that mindset. I love the pacing of it and the subject matter. I don't want to spoil anything about it at all. I don't like telling people what things are about. If you don't know Brubaker and Phillips, they have a long-standing collaboration around Image Comics and a lot of noir, pulpy noir, and I love every one of their books that I've come across. So I'm really happy to have read that one, and I recommend it to anyone else who loves anything else these guys have done. And I love the cover as it looks like a different version of Sean Phillips. A different way for him to render an image that doesn't look like anything else he's done before. And I dig cowboys, I dig Western movies. So seeing that cover, I was like, okay, I'm totally in on whatever this is and wherever it leads me. So I was not disappointed. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
Awesome.
There's a pizza calling your name, sir.
I am. I got to go pick up pizza.
Right.
I hope you all have the chance to pick up pizza this weekend at some point. And I'm going to say, I don't know. I mean, it's a nice thing to wish someone. Pizza's
yes. Yes.
Craig, thank you. He just said he's amped for the next issues, and we hope you're safe too. Really appreciate it, man. And I will say one thing before we go to a shout out to the Dragon, which is the Dragon comic book store here in Guelph and in Guelph, Ontario. It has 2 locations here and 1 in Milton. They were so kind as to add us to their holiday gift list, along with a number of the people of artists and cartoonists who we admire and really think are great, excellent human beings. Whether it's Scott Chandler and his story Bix, which
get well soon, Scott.
Incredible. Jay Stevens and DJX. Even Seth, the Canadian cartoonist Seth, was on that list, as well as Jason Smith, who draws and illustrates Vagrant Queen, which is on Sci-Fi as a show. So to just be included in that list, even on a piece of paper with those names,
it's crazy.
Thank you, Dragon. If you're around, I'm sure there you are. Support your local comic book store as much as you can during this season and beyond. And it's been great chatting with you. And we'll be back again next week, I think.
Yeah, good to see you, Chris, man.
All right, man, you two take care.
Yeah, enjoy your pizza.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Bye, guys.